Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor and we're back for another Crypto Empire Sunday live stream. Happy 4th of July weekend everyone. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July over in the United States of America, where we celebrate the abundance of freedom that we have there in that great country. Anyways, we're talking about crypto today. All right, enough of the sarcasm. Let's get down to business and get into the market. With our crypto market overview, let's get right into it. So looking at things as they currently are, I want to jump right into the charts because look, altcoins, they're pretty slow. We do have some crazy gainers like Bonk up 25% on the day. We'll talk about that today, don't worry. But for the most part, the altcoin market is still looking pretty weak, and I'm going to explain why. But we're going to start off looking at Bitcoin itself. So let's go take our Monday range indicator off for now. And we just have a very clean Bitcoin chart right now. This is how I'm seeing things. I cleaned this up. I got rid of all the noise. And just to simplify the Bitcoin price action, let's talk about what is going on. So we have a one-day supply zone up here at the all-time high, outlined in red. This is controlling the price. Every time price has come into this supply level, it has led to a low, and every time after, it's led to basically a lower low. All right, so essentially this supply zone is still in control as of right now, and this is the all-time high price. So if we're going to blast off here, it's very simple. We need to close above the one-day supply zone, which is really $112,000. We need to close in a new all-time high to convincingly break this level. Otherwise, the sellers are going to remain in control. Now, I think this zone is going to break. All right. We have Fibonacci extension levels higher that we've mentioned. Right. Just some here. Really, the main ones are 118 to 130, but just pulling this fractal, we have 115, we have 120. There's fib levels higher. I'm expecting around 120 to 130K next when it breaks. When? That's a big when. It's not an if. I think it will break. It's not an if, it's a when. And I'm just not necessarily 100% convinced it's going to break out like right now. If it does, I would more than welcome it. Okay. I would love to see this break out into new all-time highs right now, but I'm just not convinced it's going to happen. Anyways, I'll explain why. We have price rejecting currently, or we rejected on Friday, the 4th of July. We had a big kind of down move here. And we are using right now the top of the channel that I have drawn as support, which as of right now is bullish, okay? So we are actually in contention to go break this. And again, I would love to see it happen. I really would. In order for that to happen, of course, we really would need to see USDT dominance break below its daily demand zone as well. So this would line up with one another. Okay, this would also break this trend line that's been forming. All right. So back to it. Simple. If we're going to pump here, I hope it happens. I'm sick of this chop, just like everybody else. The summertime lull that is being described as right now. It's boring, all right? It's very tough to watch this price action currently. There's still volatility to trade, don't get me wrong. But I would love to see this break. If we end up rejecting from here, which I think is something that everyone should be prepared for, okay? If we end up rejecting from here, the first level to look for would be our 2-day demand zone, which is that 104K level, all right? On the 12-hour, you also have an HOB. And also, on the 20-hour, you have a level. Okay, so this 2-day, this is all inside of our 2-day demand zone here, basically. Major level for Bitcoin over here at 104K. First level to look for. Next one would be this daily demand zone down here, which is at 101, 102. Now, the real juice spot for Bitcoin is still the yearly open. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way this thing is going to go down to the yearly open. By the way, if you don't know, the yearly open is at 93,200 $250 approximately. It's a pretty significant drop. All right, this is a 14% drop. Now, could this happen? It very well could. I want to show you guys something. We're going to have to put our tinfoil hats on. So put them on real quick and let's get into this. As a lot of you guys might know if you watch my live streams, I talk about Elon Musk a lot because I think Elon Musk has heavy involvement with the creation of the cryptocurrency market and especially Bitcoin. Just like Elon was on the team of something like PayPal, right? He wasn't the direct founder. He was a co-founder with many other smart people. I think it's a pretty similar situation with Bitcoin, and I think Elon Musk is heavily involved. So anyways, this is interesting. Elon tweeted today. Okay, he quote tweeted himself. On January 7th of 2021, he tweeted, "The most entertaining outcome is the most likely." And for some odd reason, he just picked this tweet today to quote tweet, and he said, "Sure is," with a laughing emoji. Okay, so let's take a little trip down memory lane right now. This is pretty this is pretty on the fringe. This is pretty tinfoil hat stuff, which is why I said you got to put the tinfoil hat on for this segment of the live stream. I will tell you to take it off. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to January 7th of 2021. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane. Here we are. All right. Well, the last time this happened, Bitcoin was looking really bullish. It was looking really bullish after a major run-up in late December, or I should say late November and December. Bitcoin put in a huge leg up. Okay, it started its crazy 2021 bull market. Again, Elon tweeted this on January 7th. The entertaining outcome is the most likely. The entertaining outcome at this point on January 7th was to see a large correction on Bitcoin. Okay, as you can see, January 7th wasn't the high. January 8th was. But from the high on January 8th to the low, this thing dropped 31.5%. We haven't really seen any of those 30% corrections quite quickly like we have in the last cycle. Anyways, the entertaining outcome is the most likely. It sure is. Just take a mental screenshot of this run up, okay? And now we're going to go back to modern times, current day. Well, it's not the same exact picture, but we have something where Bitcoin's very close to a new all-time high. At that point in 2021, Bitcoin was pushing new all-time highs, right? It was in price discovery. So we're at a point now where we're not quite in price discovery, but we're very close to it. And if the entertaining outcome is going to be the most likely again, we're simply going to see this thing correct, okay? The most logical level to see this thing correct to would be the bottom of the channel. The bottom of the channel is where? It's here. Okay? It's here. So look, I'm not saying this is going to happen. We're mixing kind of fundamental data here, right, with technical analysis. It's what I like to do. If you guys watch the channel, you probably are already aware that I like to mix the fundamentals with the technicals. For my analysis, for my trading, for my investing. That's what I've been doing since I've started this channel, mixing the two together. But yeah, if the most entertaining outcome is going to be the most likely again, we are coming down towards our yearly open. Okay, 95K to around 93K. There are lows, unswept lows at 91,000 as well. Which I have marked here, 91,900. So this entire area is the most logical place at the current moment in time. If we were to see an actual correction, that's your spot, that's your zone. Nothing has really changed on the chart. With that being said, I would love to see this break out of the channel and the retest on July 4th hold and then just a new all-time high. I would absolutely love to see it. But I'm just really not convinced, especially with how the market has. If you've had any expectations, for the most part, the market has not really fulfilled those, okay? So that's Bitcoin. I know, might not be what you want to hear, but 95K, that's the juice zone in that level. So we'll see what gives this week. We will see what gives this week. I mean, as always, in terms of intra-week moves, your Monday range is always going to be the go-to trading strategy in terms of intra-week stuff. But this is a longer swing move, and that's the logical level to look for. So anyways, let's go back to USDT dominance, tether dominance. And yeah, I mean, if we're going to break into new highs right now on Bitcoin, we are going to see this break down. And it's really not broken down yet. All right, it's still respecting this general area around 4.75%. Previously, we had a one-day demand zone here. All right, that got used, got filled. All the liquidity was taken. But what happened was a fresh one-day demand zone formed over here on the 3rd of July. We had a fresh zone form on the one day, another demand zone, which I clearly have labeled right here. We also, on the 23-hour time frame, have an order block behind a fair value gap, okay? As you can see just here, this one, which I've outlined in a different shade of green here to represent another level of demand. So if Bitcoin's going to reject from this daily supply zone, it probably is going to make sense to see this bounce heavily from this 23-hour level at 4.75%, which means if you're also bearish, right? If you came into this stream and you're also kind of bearish, well, this is going to be a good opportunity to look for a short, right? This is a fresh one-day supply on Bitcoin that just formed over here on the 3rd of July. Remember, the demand zone on USDT dominance formed on the 3rd of July. So when price does hit that 23-hour level, and if Bitcoin is in this daily supply zone, or even in the one-day level, I mean, if you want to try the short, you have a very obvious invalidation, because the invalidation would be just above the all-time high. This is 2%, right? You're risking 2% to potentially profit 4%, or as much as 11 to 15 if we're going to see the major move down here to the real juice level on Bitcoin at around 95 to 93K. All right, so it's a very low risk trade. It makes a lot of sense. It has a clear invalidation point. And I've explained the reasoning around why I would look to short Bitcoin currently. Again, the 23-hour hidden order block level here on USDT dominance has not been filled yet. It has not been hit. So when that does, okay, that would make a lot of sense to look for shorts on BTC. But anyways, the bullish scenario is for this to drop. It's for this to drop hard to the next level over here, daily demand zone at 4.56%. And then ideally continue down lower towards our macro targets, right? 3.8, 3.3. It's not really that far away now. It's actually quite close. So with that being said, it is more sustainable to go up first and then hit the macro targets. I think it'd be a lot better overall for many alts too. Because you have to understand, you want as much drop length as possible for altcoins to pump as hard as possible. All right. So if this was to drop to 3.8 from here, it's a 20% drop, which is still decent. But let's say it was to come up, back up here to 5.25 and drop. Okay, now we're talking 28, 30%. All right, this is significantly more. And altcoins are in the same spot they were when it was up here. All the money went into Bitcoin. So yeah, it's more sustainable if USDT dominance goes up before down for altcoins. It's going to lead to higher prices overall in an altcoin season. So with that, if we do end up bouncing on USDT dominance, by the way, the 12-hour level last week worked out perfectly. I know I said I expected it because it got front ran. I expected 5%, but actually what happened was price respected this on the USDT dominance, and it basically front ran on all the assets like Bitcoin. But anyways, we can talk about that in a little bit. I just realized for some reason my live chat isn't working in my studio. Here we go. Now I see everyone. I was wondering. It seemed kind of quiet in here. But now I see everyone here in the live chat. What is going on, everyone? Great to see everyone's names. And yeah, we'll address that in a moment. This is Sunday, our community live stream, so we'll be getting into your questions shortly. So yeah, anyways, 5% daily supply still on the table. It's still open. Give or take around 5% away. And that big level at 5.25 is 10% away, which lines up perfectly with Bitcoin down into that 2-day demand level at 95,000. All right, so everything kind of lines up right now. If we are to pump, this chart is going to break down very hard. I'm not expecting it to break down very hard at the current moment in time. So yeah, if you want to counter trade me and long everything, go for it, okay? I would love to be wrong. But personally, I would look to short inside of this 23-hour level on USDT dominance. Okay. Let's go on to Ethereum, and then we'll get into our live chat. So for ETH, it's pretty simple. If this is the bull scenario, you just don't want to see price come below 24.30, which is Monday's low. All right? You don't want to see price come below that again. Now, even if you were to enter at current price, right, this would be a 5% risk trade. Okay. So, as a trader, you have to be able to go both directions, right? That's obvious. Now, if we're bullish, right, price should not come back below 24.30. It should break above resistance, and it should head right up here to our daily supply zone higher at $3,300. That's the bullish scenario. Now on the weekly, we might get a close above the weekly supply zone at 25.50. The current price is 25.58. All right, we might close above our weekly supply zone. If we are, that's a good sign to continue higher. If not, I would look to be very bullish. Let's clean this up. I would look to be very bullish inside of this 1-day demand zone. It makes a lot more sense to me here we go. It makes a lot more sense to me to be bullish here. Wow. It makes a lot more sense to be bullish down here in daily demand, which is around 2,200. And obviously lower as well, but we'll talk about that if we have to. Then right here, okay? Now earlier, right, price sold off. It was respecting the monthly open, and it now pumped off of it. So I wouldn't really recommend to chase any longs from this price point. However, I just told you it's a 5% risk from the invalidation spot. All right, it's a hard invalidation. If price is going to break out here and break above this resistance at 28.50, it should not come back below Monday's low price, which is $2,423. So if it comes back below Monday's low price, you have to be okay with being wrong. You have to take the loss, and you have to look to try again at a more logical point. That's the reasoning behind the trade you see on the screen. Right? Very clear invalidation. Now, if for whatever reason we do end up, because again, right, this is why it's so important to be on top of the charts, and like it needs to be a daily routine. But anyways, what happened over here on the 3rd of July? A supply zone formed. A daily supply zone formed. All right, price just tapped into it now. If this daily supply zone ends up leading to a rejection and this gets stopped out, that's perfectly fine. All right, I would be looking at this level down here, and I'd also be looking at this level down here for ETH. This is closer to 2,000. Again, this is at 2,220 to 2,280. Overall, it's very choppy. It's now, this range started in May, on the 10th of May. It's now the 6th of July. How many days is that? That's a lot of days to be sideways like this, right? This is 57 days straight now. 2 full months of just sideways chop. So, this is a range-bound market until proven otherwise. It's a range. What happens typically in a range? Until it's broken, price likes to go to extreme, to extreme, to extreme, to extreme, where eventually it will break. As of right now, I think it's smarter to treat this as a range, but the inner bull in me has to try for a breakout. All right, so that's what you see on the screen here with the long. I don't think it's going to work, but sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't think will work. And it makes a lot more sense to be bullish from down here. Let's see what's going on here in our live chat, everyone. We got some really interesting news to share today. I'll get into that in a little bit. And looking at BTC currently down on the 1 hour time frame, we are in, let's go to the 20 hour. So we are in a 20 hour level as well here. Right, this is our clean chart. This is our messier chart. We'll leave the messy chart up here for now. Shout out to Rigoberto Chavez Jr., my man Rigoberto, been here from the very early days in 2021 when Crypto Empire was just started. I've been seeing this name in my Sunday live chats for over 4 years straight now. Rigoberto, you're the man. Thank you for your support. Great to see you. And yes, Bitcoin dominance, we will look at it. Shout out to Trucker Steve, another long-time name we have here consistently in our live chats. Big shout out to Trucker Steve, a true patriot. Hope you had a great 4th of July and having a great 4th of July weekend, Trucker Steve. What is going on? Keep on trucking indeed. So FBS right now, he says, good to see you, Connor. With Bonk ecosystem having officially flipped Pump Fund, is it good for the markets in the future? Great question. And yeah, we can segue a bit into our news right now. So if you guys are still paying attention to the crypto market, you've probably seen Bonk start to break out here. Although it's now in it's actually pretty clean in the sense where it's supply is up here at the yearly open. Let's clean this up. It's too messy. Okay, so on the weekly, there's really no supply until up here. Right? Weekly supply. Anyways, so what's happening with Bonk? I do have this open. So this guy, Ian Miles Cheong, I believe he lives in Malaysia, but all he does is tweet about American politics. And as you can see, I have him blocked. And I've had this guy blocked for a long time now because there's really no need to look at his tweets. But something really interesting has taken place. Yesterday, on the 5th of July, he randomly starts tweeting about Solana as well as Bonk. He puts out this really long tweet about how Pump Fund is stealing from people or whatever. And then he gets into, talking about the Bonk guy uni picks. and he starts being really bullish on Bonk. He's tweeting about anyways, this is what was interesting. So as you can see, Let's Bonk Fun, which is the Bonk launchpad, has officially flipped Pump Fun in 24-hour volume on Solana. And this guy says the market is rejecting Pump for Bonk. Incredible. Solana belongs to the people. So you have to understand, basically, this guy, he's not just tweeting about Solana randomly. He's being paid heavily to do it, okay? He's being paid heavily to do it. I do have speculation, no confirmation, that Unipix or the Bonk guy is involved with like Bybit, like heavily involved. But hey, that's a conversation for another day. We'll have to put our tinfoil hat back on for that conversation, which we're not going to do for this live stream. But anyways, this Bonk pump is heavily, heavily, heavily artificial. If you guys think this is true demand, like real demand, you know, I would suggest being less gullible. Straight up. Don't be a little gullible guppy if you think this is an actual retail-driven pump right here on Bonk. Because it's not. Sorry to burst your little bubble if you thought it was. But hey, we're trading a market. We trade volatility. So the reason behind it, whatever, right? Just going off of technicals, we have a large movement in price. And I know I said, so here on the daily, this is fresh supply. We have fresh supply right here. And Bonk is currently in this level. All right, so we'll see what happens here. The question from FBS was, is it good for the markets in the future? Hard to say. Overall, I think Let's Bonk Fun and Pump.Fun are very similar products that are just going to lead to the creation of rug pull scam meme coins. So to answer the question, no, I don't think this is good for the market in the future. Pure logic and reason, which was really lacking nowadays, especially in the crypto market. But these two things, Let's Bonk Fun and Pump.Fun, are the same thing with just a different label. Was Pump Fun good for the market? No. Will this be good for the market? History doesn't repeat, but it often does rhyme. I'm going to say no, it's not going to be good. So anyways, this is the current state of the crypto market. Shout out to Bold Leonidas with the great comic image that he drew. But this is the current state of the crypto market, right? Like a network launcher, just launching network after network, Ethereum layer 2 after Ethereum layer 2. And then the networks that are all created, they all launch token launcher after token launcher after token launcher, right? We'll segue back to this image, the same exact thing, right? And then what happens? All the token launchers on the network, they produce all these different tokens. Like I just said, it's probably going to lead to the creation of a lot of scam rug pull meme coins. And it will. Not probably, it will for sure. So anyways, that's what's happening. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the Let's Bonk ecosystem and things like that for obvious reasons. Unfortunately, I don't have the direct line to, you know, the insiders over at Solana or Bybit that can hook me up and tell me which random ticker to buy before they pump it. So, you know, if I had that connection, it would be great. Probably wouldn't be doing this live stream right now. I'd probably be on a tropical island drinking a pina colada with my feet up. But sometimes that's just how life goes. I'd rather be here, to be honest with you. There's a time and place for everything, and yeah, this isn't really time for a long drawn vacation currently, right? It's time to work. But anyways, that's the situation happening on Let's Bonk Fun, and yeah, good question there. And let's look at Bitcoin dominance real quick. So again, this is in heavy contention to top out. And the last key low we had was still down here at 63.1%. And that still needs to be taken out to confirm a top. Now we hit the level over here at 66% finally. There is, however, still a valid level at 67% higher. So in terms of the Bitcoin dominance drop, it's still too early to call. All right, we are in a new range over here where price is respecting the support at 65%. If we're to break down through this, that would be a good sign. Yeah, I mean, we're in contention right now to see this drop off of a cliff. We'll see. We'll see shortly. I mean, look, overall, like if we just look at altcoins, they're all in the gutter. We haven't even gotten to them yet today. We have to. But yeah, either you buy here or you buy the flush 30% lower. That probably marks the bottom. I still think, you know, you'll be okay for when this drops. But yeah, I would be weary of the move up to 67% because we have no confirmation that this is topped out just yet. But, you know, for example, on alts, coins like Cardano right now, which is an interesting one here on the weekly. What is this? I think this is a 4-day level. No, it's not. It's a weekly. This is a weekly level here on Cardano at 44 cents to 43.2 cents. Okay, this is a weekly previous supply zone. Got completely disregarded on its way up higher here. It's now become a hidden order block. So, like I just said there, right? 25% away from the current market price. Something like Doge. Something like Doge still has the key level down at 12 cents, 25% away from the current market price. So I want to prep you guys right now for the scenario that to me makes the most sense. And this would make sense as well, given how we looked at Bitcoin earlier in the live stream and talked a lot about this 95K level down here. You know, that would mean a lot of destruction and carnage for altcoins. And to people that don't really track the market, you might think it's drastic. But I have news for you. This is how altcoins move. They do nothing and then they have crazy volatile moves. So in my opinion, this current price action on Doge does look eerily similar to this low over here in March, where we had a strong bottom down here. And then we spiked up. And then we made a double bottom lower. All right, so I would be prepped for this scenario. We either pump first to supply at 20 cents and then drop, or we drop from here. If we pumped at 20 cents, I will 100% look to short Dogecoin. Down to the key level at 12 cents. 100%. It's a 40% drop. 40%, 40. It's a lot. But anyways, yeah, this is quite similar to one another, just in terms of the range currently, how this is shaping up. But overall, it makes a lot more sense to wait for lower for the bottom on altcoins, right? We can go through a lot of different charts. We just looked at ADA, right? That weekly level down there at 42 or 44, sorry. XRP is a bit of a different animal. Buying the weekly pivot at 190 was the play, as you can see. Right, perfect bounce right from that weekly pivot at 190. XRP holds up really well and probably would result in a double bottom around this level. But yeah, overall, right, Tau, we talk a lot about Tau here on the channel. Like, we got a super chat, by the way. We got a super chat from Bergen County Real Estate. My man, Bergen County Real Estate, with a $4.99 super chat. He says, best time of the cycle to be here watching Crypto Empire. Prep time. Thanks, Connor. My man, with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for the support. You're very welcome. Appreciate you. Shout out to Bergen County Real Estate. But anyways, yeah, we talk a lot about Tau here, right? And a week ago, I was doing the Sunday live stream, right? And what was I going over? I was going over how $350 is major resistance. What happened at the start of the week or on Sunday? We pumped up to $350. We sold off to $316. A casual 10% move given to you on a silver platter right here on the channel. We bounce right back up here to $340. We come back down, right? It's just like it cannot reclaim this pivot at $350. The sellers are too strong controlling the buyers, where it cannot do this. It cannot reclaim the very key support resistance flip level, which leads me to believe that the sellers are in control. So they're likely going to push price down to a level where the buyers exceed the sellers, i.e. a demand zone. Where's the demand zone? Where's the range low? We talked about this, guys. It's down here around 250. It makes a lot of sense to wait for the flush. Remember, the entertaining outcome is the most likely. For anybody who joined in our live stream a little bit late, we're going to have to put our tinfoil hat back on because I just want to re-go over this. Elon tweeted this out January 7th of 2021. July 6th, today, July 6th, 2025, he picks a random tweet from 2021 to quote tweet and just say, sure is. Again, I do have heavy speculation that Elon Musk is a part of the Satoshi Nakamoto team. We'll see. But yeah, anyways, if we look at what happened on January 7th of 2021, Elon gave you the top. He gave you the local top before a major 31% correction, right? How nice of Elon. How did he know that the entertaining outcome was the most likely? If it's going to happen again for Bitcoin, well, I mean, look, are we near a potential top or a bottom? Obviously, we're near a potential top. So is the entertaining outcome going to be the most likely again? It could be. And that would just lead to all the levels on altcoins that I've had for weeks now to get hit, which is why I'm still leaning bearish on the market. What's another one? Aptos. So on Aptos, big daily demand level at 416 to 394. Let me see the weekly on this. So yeah, I mean, even something like Aptos right now, it makes more sense to even wait for just this demand block if you're going to do anything, right? Now, currently, it doesn't really make much sense to do anything at the current price. If you're going to do anything at all, I would at least wait for a move into here, closer to $4. The real value area, in my opinion, would be another sweep of this low at $3.90. Okay, the real value would be like another move into these levels. It's still lower, right? Every altcoin, for the most part, has very valid levels lower. That would make a lot more sense to wait for. I saw somebody ask about ENA. Let me pull that up. So I don't know why I drew this zone as I did, but I'm going to redraw it and just take into account these weekly demand zones. As you can see, one of them already did get hit once, or the upper one has been hit. All right, so the upper demand block got hit, which means that our lower demand block is actually still fresh. So this would be classic, okay? If this was to play out on ENA, it would simply be a sweep of the low into weekly demand at 21 cents. Now this thing got smoked. This thing has really been, I mean, it looks like most altcoins, but this one looks weaker than like even something like Tau. I also saw somebody said bear flags everywhere, and I see them too. Right? I mean, it is. There are bear flags like everywhere, basically. But yeah, for ENA, the level that I would wait for if you want to be a buyer would be like at least 22 to 21 cents, the weekly demand zone that's still fresh. Let's see, we have Georgios82100. He says, smash the like button and subscribe, guys. Connor is the most honest YouTuber. Thank you, Georgios. I appreciate that, man. You heard him. Smash the like button and subscribe. You heard the guy. He says, what's your take on Render? Also, besides Doge, what other alts are you most bullish on? So Render is definitely a coin as an AI coin. I think it's going to perform quite well into the future. It's another coin I'm bullish on, right? Tau as well. It's an AI coin. I think it will perform quite well into the future. But anyways, let's just talk about the Render chart. It looks exactly like, or not exactly like Tau, but quite similar. In the sense where you lost the pivot, which was up here at $3.60 approximately. If we just roughly draw the pivot here on Render, it's right at the golden pocket of the fib. That's up here. So when this was lost, the sellers regained control fully. Okay. So now Render is struggling to get back above resistance to flip it. It's having a hard time. So as you can see from the bottom in March as well as the April 7th bottom, it looks like we front ran the level that I had or have. But yeah, this level, this is why you have to label the time frames. I don't remember which time frame this was on. Could be any of them. All right, whatever. We're just going to use the lines I put on months ago, back in like February, March. But I drew this zone here for a reason, right? I trust myself. We can obviously see on the chart there's something going on here. So yeah, the most logical thing to do on Render to really load up on the coin would be to wait for a sweep of these lows into this demand block, which is, I have it from $2.32 to $2.10. But after this stream, I'm going to clean this up and refine this level, and we'll report back on what I do. But as of right now, roughly $2.33 to $2.10 is the level to wait for Render. Now here locally, we can pretty clearly see that this supply zone is currently giving price a very hard time. All right, if you would have just shorted this daily supply every time it came in, it would have led to some decent scalps, 10%, 10%. Currently, it's a no trade for me. And I never trade Render really anyway nowadays. This is technically a partial. So here's what I say, and this is also right at one of our fib. This is the fib. This is right at the pivot, actually. This partial is right at the pivot. So I would, if I was to do anything, I would wait for at least a move up here, 360, to look for shorts. Ideally, the best level to short, if it's given this week, would be above $4. And the best level to long, if given this week, would be the really big low demand zone. But yeah, I mean, this chart, it's not really one that I track regularly, so I just know immediately looking at it, it looks very similar to the Tau price action. Like very, very similar. So being that I'm bearish on Tau, I'm going to be bearish on render here in the short term. Let's see, Lee J, he says, seems pointless to keep looking at the charts as this market is so manipulated. It will only go up when the market makers want it to. You hit the nail on the head, bro. It's true. And of course, it's all, yeah, Mr. G, he says it all depends on Powell and Trump, all that. I mean, that's part of the manipulation. But yeah, Lee J, you're absolutely correct, man. I would say that unless you're actively trading, it would make a lot more sense to go enjoy the summertime, right? Go get tan, go to the gym, like take care of yourself, right? Enjoy the sun while it's here, unless you're trading, like shorter term time frame where you need to be looking at the charts, because you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong at all. Shout out to Declan Wyatt, who says to smash the like button. Mr. G, my man, Mr. G. If you guys don't know Mr. G, he's also like one of the older Crypto Empire subscribers here. Yeah, great to see the name Mr. G, because it's been a while since I've seen Mr. G in a live stream. So it's great to see you, my man. All the 2021 Crypto Empire legends will know Mr. G because it's hard to forget that guy. Good guy. Let's see. He says social risk score is 0 right now. This cycle is about time capitulation. If we don't see a breakout soon, alts may likely never go back to December highs. Interesting. Bob Franklin says that a potential bearish divergence forming on Bitcoin to go along with the existing weekly. So if we look at what Bob is saying here, right, we have weekly bearish divergence with price making this higher high over here, RSI lower low, or lower high, sorry. Very reliable topping signal on the higher time frames. On the 1 month, it's forming. For sure it's forming. But yeah, it's important to understand that this is an extreme premium price for Bitcoin. And in terms of that fib that I wanted to pull earlier, I'll pull it now. And this is what I was talking about. So yeah, I'm really not expecting more than this for Bitcoin. This is 118 to 130 before a major correction. And then eventually I see it getting much higher than these prices. But, you know, for this cycle here, I think our best case scenario would be a move into this and distribution into altcoins. Top. So that's why I've been saying that the juice on Bitcoin, there really isn't that much juice left to wring out of the towel. Mr. G says, retesting the mid to low 90s, this would be the capitulation event for altcoins. Yes, sir. That's exactly what I have in mind as well. I mean, we can go through all these coins. Let's see. This is the monthly time frame chart. The 1 month. Actually hit its level below 2. But yeah, some gaming coins are popping right now, right? There's Gun, which has been on a tear, up 92% over the past 2 weeks. Let me check my gaming list. This shitcoin OTK might finally be making some type of comeback. This is Mavia on the weekly. I mean, look, if gaming's gonna come back, they're all still bottomed, but yeah, some signs of life out there with some low caps like Gunzilla pumping. But this is 25 million market cap, so it's hard to say. But anyways, what Mr. G was saying, retesting the mid to low 90s for Bitcoin would be the capitulation event for altcoins. I agree. Again, here's our clean Bitcoin chart for anyone wondering what's going on with Bitcoin currently. Long story short, we have supply zone from the 22nd of May. We have a supply zone that formed on the 3rd of July. We have price currently in the supply zone from the 3rd of July. We have a lot of bullish people that are just expecting this breakout to happen. I would love to see it happen, right? Because that would mean Ethereum would also pump, right? And pump up here to 3,300. However, I've given my stance, and even with that long on ETH, I don't think it's going to work. But as a trader, I need to try. I need to take a risk. I don't have to, but I choose to. And overall, I'm not too convinced we're going to see this breakout right now. I think it makes the most sense to come down to the daily 200 EMA and hit this 2-day demand zone, hit the bottom of our channel. Altcoins capitulate. Then maybe we get a nice slingshot up here to our Fibonacci extension levels where we see our distribution into altcoins and we get the altcoin season. This would be the best scenario possible for the health and longevity of the actual altcoin season. This would allow altcoins to pump the hardest, in my opinion. That's just me, though. This is the internet, where all 8 billion people on Earth have access to it, basically. So there's a lot of different opinions out there. This is what I think. And this is what I would like to see happen. Nobody can control the market. We can simply just react to what it does. And if we get the move down to 95K on Bitcoin, I think we're golden. Shout out to Grotto EZ. What's up, Grotto EZ? By the way, guys, smash the like button. 120 people watching, 54 likes. Let's get that 1-to-1 ratio. I want to see at least 100 likes before I end this live stream, right? And when I watch the replay tomorrow, I want to see 350 likes. Smash up the like button. Let's get those numbers up, lads. Let's go. Shout out to Grotto EZ. He says, I just wanted you to know that I'm tuned in. What's up, Connor? Some good stuff. What about ETH? I like the Robinhood bet. So yes, we talked about Ethereum already. I assume you are familiar. For anyone just joining in now, my reasoning for Ethereum is this. If we're actually going to break out here, I don't think price should come back beneath this week's Monday's low price, which is at $2,430. If we're going to break out, I don't think price should go below that again, which is why that's the invalidation point. And the target would be up here at supply 3,300. Now, it makes a lot more sense to actually reject, and I would be a lot more bullish here. So we're just going to take it level to level right now. Currently, we do have a potential break of this weekly supply zone. Right? So potential shift, potential pivot here. And if we're actually going to pump, price should not come back below 24.30. Shout out to Grotto Easy. Let's see. Michael says, I don't know if I should buy at the beginning of the week or just wait a little longer. And Mr. G says, just dollar cost average. Yeah, that's good. I think that's a smart idea as well. And be ready in case we do get the altcoin, the final purging, basically the final purging. We already looked at ENA for Mateo. Shout out to Fazia. Shout out to Guts Motors. Shout out to Stacy Lewis. Shout out to Adrian Kent with the 2 thumbs up. What is going on? We got Shane. He says, oi, oi, Connor. My man. Quality content. Am I wrong or am I seeing bear flags printing on a lot of coins? You're correct, Shane. Yeah. You're definitely correct. Let's pick an example. Chainlink. All right, so let's look at Link here. As one can see, we do have a 2-day supply zone up here at 1434. Chainlink doesn't have a bear flag. This chart doesn't have a bear flag. So this is very interesting. On Link, if you do go to the 6-hour time frame and you look at the candle from Friday, June 20th at 1400 hours Eastern Standard Time, you have a 2 times hidden level. And as you can see, I do have... As you can see, I do have an alert. I thought I labeled this something differently. Must have been a different alert I set today. But yeah, this level is $12.50 on Chainlink to $12.54. And this wouldn't really be too catastrophic of a drop. But this would be a level that I would look to long for at least a scalp. 6% lower. Otherwise, look to short inside of the 2-day supply level. But yeah, that's not really a bear flag. Avalanche is a major bear flag. Anyone not familiar with what a bear flag is, I'll briefly explain. It's a consolidation pattern. It's a continuation pattern. Okay, so when price pumps, what typically can happen is price will put in a major leg higher. You'll see it consolidate for a bit. And then maybe another huge breakout higher. So this would be considered the bull flag. It can go the other way. If price is in a downtrend and it ends up kind of in this consolidation, typically a bear flag is going to be upward sloping, but it doesn't have to be. But yeah, then you'll see a continuation down. And we would label this as the bear flag. So here on AVAX, it's exactly what I just drew. We're in a very obvious downtrend. Right? We're in this obvious downtrend. Now we have price in this upward sloping consolidation. The most logical thing, maybe it wants to pump up here first. But yeah, the most logical thing, I already have the level labeled on AVAX lower. This is a weekly hidden level. 1420. It was front ran in March. It was front ran in April. It was front ran in June. All right, so yeah, there are definitely a lot of bear flags around and a lot of key levels untapped lower on altcoins. But yeah, shout out to Shane. Yeah, you were correct, sir. And we got All Day Dre in the building as well. What is up, All Day Dre? Great to see you. And Crypto Art says, tell me if you see a double bottom on the daily. By the way, Dre is the I gave some shout outs to long-standing Crypto Empire community members. Dre is the original, all right? So Dre is the OG Crypto Empire community member. I mean, from day one when I started my channel, and he's still here today. Absolute legend, guys. Shout out to Dre. And we got UFD request. Is it forming a double bottom? I don't even have deck screener open right now, but I'm going to have to say potentially, but I'm not really convinced. And I don't necessarily think Ron in his basement. I think he took a deal, man. So, yeah, who knows? Just my speculation. Big shout out to Green Chili Pepper. He says, happy Sunday. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Big, beautiful weekend. Yes. A big, beautiful bill. Big, beautiful weekend. They go hand in hand. Trump did sign that big, beautiful bill in. So I believe it's all confirmed now. My bottom level for H bar has been like 10, 11 cents. Over here in February, March, right, when price was coming down, it ended up front running that level at 12.5. But just like Shane mentioned, bear flags everywhere, and here's one on H bar, right? Downtrend, consolidate. Likely, we're gonna, if you want to buy H bar, 11 to like 10 cents, maybe you see 9. That's where you would do it if you get the opportunity to do so. It makes a lot more sense to be a buyer there than here. Why? Why does it make more sense? Well, let's look at what happened. Price pumped and it left behind a major inefficiency. Where's the demand on this chart? Where's the range low? Where's the demand? I mean, it just kind of tapped it over here on the bottom in March. But for the most part, I would say the real demand is going to come into play at the previous range high. It's exactly where I have it on the chart. It's 10 cents. It's at 10 cents. So that's H bar. If you want to buy, I would say buy it down here. And I don't really think you have to go listen to anybody else in terms of H bar analysis, because I like the way that I have analyzed this chart, and I've been waiting for this. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of guys out there telling you to buy it right now, but most guys just simply don't understand. Mateo, we looked at ENA, brother. Right? We already looked at this chart. Bear flag, daily supply zone up here. Partial level at 31 cents. Overall, though, I'd say that you'll see a move, even if you do pump back up. There's so much fresh supply on this chart. So much fresh supply on this chart. But yeah, I would look The closest supply is 29.6 down to 22. Guys, smash up the like button. Shout out to Cryptomaniac925. Shout out to Trucker Steve. He said, me being an uneducated trucker, earlier I shorted Bonk. I appreciate the honesty, Trucker Steve. Yeah, there's some big manipulation happening on Bonk right now, which we talked about earlier in the live stream. And we currently are on a daily supply level. We have a big weekly supply level up above. Stacy, I'm not sure what you're referring to in terms of the marathon, but it's good to see you have tinfoil in your vents. Shout out to Manny telling everyone to pay their tuition with the likes. You already know it. Bomba Crypto says 16th of July, Mr. Miggle's Coinbase listing potentially. All base coins are really underperforming, I'd say. Arrow is now correcting after the whale pump. Which is why it's so important. If you buy, you got to wait for the key level. All right. Which again was given to all of this Crypto Empire subscribers at 50 cents in video and on live streams, resulting in a beautiful pump. But yeah, base right now is just altcoins in general really underwhelming. Total 3 potentially going to break this trend line, but I think it probably comes deeper into demand first. Others potentially going to break this trend line, but likely going to come deeper into demand first. Shout out to Gimme the Chalupa, my man. Can Arrow 15x? No. No, sir. And S says, talked about Epic Prime in the past. It's a gaming coin, NFT, metaverse type of thing. So if that does make a comeback, yeah, for sure, we can see some action happen on it. But it currently looks like every other gaming chart. It actually looks like it's selling off harder to new lows. So, yeah, it's weaker actually than many other gaming charts. With that being said, we have to understand that currently all these gaming coins, they're significantly lower than their like seed round valuations, or they're at their seed round valuations. Right, if we look at this, so where's the seed? So the seed round was at 0.0065 cents. Current price 0.0012. So it's actually, this coin is currently 80% lower than the seed round price. It did have an all-time high ROI of 131x. But it's currently 80% lower than the seed round price. What happened in 2021 when all these coins launched, they were all extremely overvalued. They're simply now at fair valuations for gaming coins. It's really tough to buy any of these coins right now. It's really tough to buy any gaming coin. But with that being said, many of them, like let's see Mavia, right? We just saw Epic is down 80% from its seed round. Let's see Mavia. So they're not disclosing who or what price the seed round was. Yeah, it looks like they're not disclosing what price. But it was $5.5 million in the seed round. You have to assume that it's probably a lot closer to the seed round price or below it at 13 cents than it was at $7 or $9. It's at 13 cents. This thing was trading at $10. Let's see. July 2024. Even after that horrible altcoin bear market we had last year. In July of 2024, this thing was still trading for $1.80 to $1.50. Over 10x the current price. Mavia, new gaming coin, right? So back to the point I was making, and the question was asked about Epic, but basically all these gaming coins are now at their fair valuations. All this money was raised at a time of crazy FOMO and hysteria for gaming coins. We don't have any FOMO or hysteria for gaming coins, which has allowed them to come back down to their fair valuation prices. So Epic chart looks like total dog shit, but it's a fair valuation, so it makes sense to be bullish on it if you're ever going to be bullish on it. Mavi is same thing. What's some other one? What was that popular one? Off the grid? They don't have a token yet, right? What was the one? Shrapnel. Remember Alex Becker's big shill? Well, he's got a lot of them actually, but right, this thing is probably. Let's see if we can find the valuation here. Let's see if we can see the seed round fundraising price. Undisclosed. You see these numbers: 10 million, 7 million. For Mavia, the seed round was 5 million. They're doubling, like the tokenomics and the greed behind these tokenomics of these projects and the gaming coins. It's so insane how unfair they are, but everyone just wants to buy them because it's the hype. It's insane. 20% seed token holders. Yeah, I'm gonna have to assume that at 0.004 cents. This is a lot more fairly valued than it was up here at 35 cents. It's probably a lot closer now below that seed round price. So gaming in general, yeah, it makes sense now. They're all at fair valuations. In terms of the pick, which one to buy, there's a few. Obviously, Gunzilla before this takeoff would have been a great one, but it's gone now. Something like Pixel is on the newer side of things, right? Let's see if we can find the info for this. All right, dope. So we can actually see the numbers here. And we don't see the seed round. But the private 0.005 was the lowest we can see. So the seed round was probably like half of the private, 0.0025. Somewhere around there. So this thing's still up like 10x from the seed. But the chart kind of looks bottomed. Anyways, gaming coins, they're at the fairest valuations they've been ever. So Epic, Axie, Naka, Echelon Prime, just to name a few off the top of my head. If they're ever going to start to come back, it would be from, in my opinion, around these times or after the big altcoin flush that I'm expecting into the altcoin season. But overall, that's how I'm looking at it. Shout out to Caliphant. always keeping me in check, saying that off the grid token is the gun token. Good point. For some reason, I keep on. They all have similar names, right? There's also this stupid one. There's guns like Gunzilla, gun, whatever. Anyway, shout out to Kelefin. Thank you for that. Anyways, guys, we talked a lot about the market today. I gave you guys my stance, my current positioning. Elio trade. I mean, if you guys want to pump Elio's coin and buy Carrot, go for it. It seems like a lot fairer valuation here than it was up here at $1. All right, it's at 3 cents now. I feel a lot more comfortable buying at 3 cents than $1, obviously. But let's see if we can see the numbers. Did Elio disclose the seed round? I highly doubt it, because this tells everyone how much he's up. Well, actually, he created this thing out of thin air. But from the IEO on Gate.io, when they raised $40,000, it's down 95%. And it only ever did a 75%. I've had people in my live stream comments telling me that they're bullish on Carrot for the past 2 years or whatever. For the past year or whatever. However long it's been out. If you were ever going to be bullish on the coin, it should be now, okay? If you got your tail between your legs, like there's been so many people. I do these live streams quite often for a long period of time. So we have a lot of data to go off of. Whatever coin you've been bullish on, gaming, Carrot. I know there's a lot of people bullish on Carrot. If you were bullish up here and now you're scared, don't let them trap you. Don't let them trick you. That's the exact market emotional manipulation that they want you to think, okay? The best times to buy are always going to be the absolute worst times. Whether this pumps from here or goes another 30% lower, 50% lower, whatever, it's now in like fair value. It's like the legitimate value of the project is like these prices. It probably will get inflated again. Just out of principle, though, I'll never buy Elio Trades or Alex Becker's coin, because that's just not what I do. I think that's just, yeah, that ain't for me, man. But anyways, yeah, if you're gonna be bullish on gaming, makes a lot of sense to be bullish here. But we'll have to continue this conversation in the next episode. Smash up the like button if you haven't smashed that like button yet, lads. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and hope you found it insightful. Hopefully you learned something, or you laughed at some point, or you smiled, whatever, right? Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you all very soon. My name's Connor from Crypto Empire, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed.